Representing the business of boxing, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Manager Marty!
Thank you. You're far too kind. Thank you very much.
Representing the business of boxing, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Manager Marty!
Thank you. You're far too kind. Thank you very much.
Representing the business of boxing, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Manager Marty!
Thank you. You're far too kind. Thank you very much.
Representing the business of boxing, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Manager Marty!
Thank you. You're far too kind. Thank you very much.
Representing the business of boxing, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Manager Marty!
Thank you. You're far too kind. Thank you very much.
The man that I'm about to introduce is a man who wears many hats. He's known as a breath of fresh air in the YouTube boxing community. His voice has become one of the loudest voices in the community for his controversial but factual perspectives. Boxing fans all around the world recognizes him for his knowledge, credibility, credentials, and integrity in the business of boxing. He is the founder of the non-profit organization named Dads Overcoming Losses Living Above Reproach Incorporation. He is certified as a credit counselor, tax practitioner, experienced full-time entrepreneur, trained as an amateur boxer, and licensed as a boxing manager in multiple states in the country. He is the author of these words. You're going to need to get you a pair of these. The viewership is increasing exponentially. He is the author of these words. Roll the tape. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the jury, members of the Roll the Tape film crew, I introduce you to the undisputed, undefeated, hottest manager on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, he is Manager Marty.
Ladies and gentlemen, members of the jury, members of the Roll the Tape film crew, welcome to another episode, another edition of Roll the Tape podcast with Manager Marty. I'm your host, Manager Marty, and I know you all just heard that. That's one of the best introductions I've ever heard in my life, actually. Man, I'm so excited to be here this morning in the United States of America. In other countries, it's probably the evening. But I welcome each and every last one of you watching me live in living color. If you're watching the replay of this live, I welcome you. If you are a hater of mine, a detractor, and a spy, I equally welcome you as well. Enough with the hugs, handshakes, and Valentine's Day cards. Before we start the show off, we have to plug the air fryer up. And there's only one way to do that. And that is by publicly acknowledging the super chats. Your super chats and cash apps and monetary contributions to this channel, I promise you, is going to warm the air fryer up. And as long as the air fryer is up, I'm going to continue to cook. Not overcooked, not undercooked, but cooked. I'm talking about just right. You know how when you put that meat in that chicken in that air fryer, it tastes different. This channel tastes different when you come over here and get the information, when you come over here and get the education, when you come over here and get the entertainment. That's what we do. Starting it off, plugging the air fryer up. Double salute to my homegirl, Ty, a.k.a. Jab Queen Boxing, in the super chat. She's a member of the channel and a supervisor of the Roll the Tape film crew. Turn the air fryer on. I certainly will do that, Jab Queen Boxing. And I have to turn the air fryer on because we have to get the air fryer up to 500 degrees. Now, Ryan Garcia fought Rolly Romero on Friday evening, May the 2nd of 2025, just a few days ago. He got knocked down in the second round. He did not look like a good fighter that night. Rolly Romero did not look like a good fighter that night. Jose Ramirez didn't look like a good fighter that night. Devin Haney didn't look like a good fighter that night. Arnold Barboza Jr. did not look like a good fighter that night. And neither did Teofimo Lopez Jr. He equally did not look like a good fighter that night. But because Ryan Garcia tested positive literally 1 year ago, test results came out in May of 2024, nearly a week or two after fighting Devin Haney. In the test results that was facilitated by the Smartle Lab in Utah, and of course, the middleman in that process was VADA, came back with the test results that Ryan Garcia tested positive for trace amounts of ostarine in his system. Because of that, Ryan Garcia had to go through a lot of public scrutiny with the media, including on YouTube, which obviously at this point we all know controls boxing media coverage and boxing narratives. Not only that, but Ryan Garcia failed to include that he was taking supplements in the training camp leading up to the fight against Devin Haney. And he was suspended for 1 year and fined his purse of $1 million by the New York State Athletic Commission. Ryan Garcia took multiple drug tests months and weeks prior to fighting Devin Haney. He took a test that was administered by the Smartle Lab through VADA and their third-party company that they use, that they contract the DCOs to administer the extraction and the collection of blood and urine. Sometime in February of 2024, he took, I believe there were 2 tests. Those tests came back negative. And then 1 month prior to the actual fight, he took another test in March. That test also came back negative. But the day after the actual fight, which was on April the 20th, but the day after the fight, April the 21st, according to reports, Ryan Garcia took another test. And that's the test in question that came back positive. And so with that being said, the trace amounts of ostarine was in his system, and he was suspended for a year because of failure to disclose that the supplements that he believed at this point that had the trace amounts of ostarine in it that he claimed that he unintentionally used to cheat Devin Haney inadvertently ended up in his system. Ryan Garcia claimed that he had no intentions of ever trying to use any performance enhancement drugs and or steroids to gain an advantage in the fight with Devin Haney. Now, with that being said, I wanted to go back to the foundation of how we got here where we are today, because some people may have forgotten. So I wanted to refresh everyone's memory of what happened back then based on all of the reports, based on Ryan Garcia's public statements, based on Ryan Garcia's interviews, based on a lot of different factors. Now, fast forward to last week at the press conference. We heard Bill Haney at the press conference. We heard Bill Haney prior to the press conference, basically a day before the press conference, at the media workout. Bill Haney said that Ryan Garcia's body and physique looked different compared to when he was in the ring competing against Devin Haney a year ago. Bill Haney and Devin Haney alluded to the fact that Ryan Garcia looked different with his physique because he wasn't using any of the ostarine. Fast forward to the actual fight. Ryan Garcia is in the ring competing with Rolly Romero. He gets knocked down in the second round. As I just mentioned before, he didn't look good, and neither did the rest of the fighters, but let's key in on Ryan Garcia and his lackluster performance. And because of his performance or the lack thereof, Bill Haney has been on a campaign, and now so has Victor Conte, believing that Ryan Garcia looked different in his performance and with his physique because of the fact that he was not using performance enhancement drugs. Before I move forward, I want to salute everybody that's watching live and living color in the chat as the viewership is increasing exponentially. Double salute to JSir72 and Miss Barbara D and all things members of the channel, supervisors of the Roll the Tape film crew. Shout out to my boy, Lucky McKinnels. Woo, we got my other guy in the building. Haven't seen him in so long. I don't mean to stop my show because I know I'm flowing right now, but I got to give a double salute to my guy, Pull Counter Boxing. Man, I miss that brother. That's my boy, Pull Counter Boxing. Salute and double salute to my guy, Pull Counter Boxing. All right, enough with the hugs, handshakes, and Valentine's Day cards. Now, I just want to say something before I put the tweet up on the screen that Victor Conte put out there. And double salute to my guy, Many Face Publishing, for sending me this last night. I was going to cook on turkey this morning. I told you that yesterday by the phone booth. But we had a different agenda this morning. It's a small little diversion, as we call it on the railroad, because of these tweets from Victor. I just have a question before I put the tweet up and then I start dissecting all of this and exposing others in this. I told y'all, And some of you may not have been members of the channel. Some of you may not have been viewers of my channel at this point. Some of you may not have been subscribers. But I'm glad you are today, because back then, and some of you are, and you can attest to this, y'all were here. Back then, let's go back to 2 days after Terence Crawford and Errol Spence fought in Las Vegas, July 2023. It's amazing how we're about to be in another July in a few months of 2025, 2 years ago. Wow. I was the only content creator or YouTuber in the boxing community that said that Terence Crawford looked different in the fight against Errol Spence. And then I also said in the same live that I did that Errol Spence looked different when he fought Terence Crawford. That was the first time on this channel, that I made any references to Terence Crawford being a part of Victor Conte's SNAC program. Now, there's a reason why I waited. I'll get to that later, because I was highly criticized. Why wasn't you talking about SNAC and Terence Crawford before Errol Spence fight? There's a reason why. Most of you were here. Y'all remember that, and y'all know my reason why. The point that I'm making is this. When I told everybody 2 years ago that Terence Crawford looked different against Errol Spence and Errol Spence looked different against Terence Crawford, everybody was cool when I said Errol Spence looked different in that fight, because he did. But most people wasn't cool with the fact that I said that Terence Crawford looked different. I mean, my fellow counterparts on YouTube, you know, the other content creators, about 95% of them, you know what they did? 95% of my counterparts, the other YouTubers, I don't know all of them, but some of them, the 95% of them who thought that Errol Spence was going to win, they came back a day, 2, and 3 days later on their platform, and they apologized to Terence Crawford. Y'all remember that? They apologized. Some of you were here. My man Lucky was here. He remembers. All Things was here. I don't want to call names out and name drop. You know how it is in Philly. You know we don't name drop. But the point I'm making is some of you were here. And some of them was saying, Terence Crawford, I'm sorry. I thought you were going to lose against Errol Spence. I apologize. I was wrong. And so that created an environment where the fans of boxing expected every content creator to come out on their platform and apologize for Terence Crawford for thinking that Errol Spence was going to win against him. Oh, but the most controversial, the most imitated, the most insulted, and the least paid content creator in the boxing community, Manager Marty, yours truly, came out with my independent thinking self, came out with my controversial self and said, I ain't apologizing for nothing that I said. In other sports, we don't apologize. If you thought the Philadelphia Eagles was going to lose against the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl and the New England Patriots lose, you're supposed to apologize? If you thought the Houston Rockets were going to win against the Golden State Warriors the other day, are you supposed to go to Golden State and apologize? So how come in boxing we have to apologize? I didn't apologize. You know what I came out and did? I came out and told the truth and called it like it was. You know why? Because I was at that fight, live and living color. I was sitting close to. I know what I saw. And I told people that I was suspicious of Terence Crawford's performance, and he looked different against Errol Spence Jr. And you know what people said? You know what people said? Manager Marty, you a hater. Not everybody said that. There was a handful of people that were supporting me. But my point is, most people that was Terence Crawford fans, you know what they were saying? Manager Marty, you're butthurt because you thought Errol Spence was going to win and he lost. You just mad. You jealous of Bud Crawford. You a hater. All of your content is about Bud Crawford. You hating on Bud. You hating on Victor Conte and the SNAC program. You a hater. Terence Crawford is just endorsing SNAC. He's not taking any supplements. He's not taking anything from Victor Conte. He's just getting the check because he's wearing the shirt and wearing the logo on his trunks. Y'all remember that? I said Terence Crawford looked different, not just in the fight with Errol Spence. He looked different when he fought David Ebenezer 6 months before that fight. Y'all remember that? And then a year before that, he looked different when he fought Sean Porter. Y'all remember that? Remember I told you about the 3-fight process? Some of you were here. Y'all remember that, right? People were criticizing me, publicly insulting me, putting all of these different names in my comment section, calling me goofy, calling me a fake manager, all kind of names they were calling me, all because I said Terence Crawford looked different. But now here we are 2 years later. And Bill Haney and Victor Conte, they can say that Ryan Garcia looked different. But when manager Marty said that Terence Crawford looked different, I was the bad guy. Isn't that interesting? I just wanted to make sure that we all was on the same page. That's all it is. Now, let's get to Victor Conte's tweet. Go on and look at your screen. Here it is. If you can't look at your screen, that's fine. I'm going to read it to you. I'm going to quote Victor Conte. And I have to say this before I read this. Do y'all remember when I did the live on Sunday, the day before yesterday, most of you were here, and I told you how it made me evaluate the commentating between Jim Lampley and Sergio Mora. Remember, y'all didn't hear that nowhere else. Remember, I told y'all that in the 10th and the 11th round, when Devin Haney was fighting Jose Ramirez in the 10th or 11th round, remember I told y'all Jim Lampley brought up Victor Conte's name and Ryan Garcia's statement. Y'all remember that? Some of y'all remember that. And here we are today, talking about the very thing that I spoke on Sunday. This is the tweet on your screen from Victor Conte, and I want to read it to you if you can't. Look at your screen. Victor Conte tweeted this at 4:51 in the PM on May the 5th, 2025, which was yesterday. Quote, interesting that Ryan Garcia claims that Victor Conte is the biggest cheater in boxing. Commentator Jim Lampley said during the 11th round of the Haney versus Ramirez fight, quote, there is no real evidence that Conte is cheating. It has not turned up in tests. Mike Coppinger agrees, quote, not at all, end quote. In my opinion, Ryan Garcia was simply not the same fighter on May the 2nd, 2025 that he was on April the 20th, 2024. Ryan had not been randomly tested for 10 months before entering a testing pool of 8 weeks before the first fight. Ryan can no longer deny that his performance and bizarre behavior before the first fight were highly suspicious. End quote. Hey, Victor Haney. I'm sorry. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say Victor Haney, and I shouldn't say Bill Conte. That's not their names. Hey, Victor Conte. I got a question on that. I just have a question on that. I want to read this sentence, and then I want to ask my question as the viewership is increasing exponentially. You ain't going to find this nowhere else. What up, Shiny D? This is what Victor tweeted. I'm going to read the sentence and I'm going to comment. Here you go. Ryan had not been randomly tested for 10 months before entering a testing pool of 8 weeks before the first fight, meaning the Devin Haney fight. When he keeps saying the first fight, he means the Devin Haney fight. Let me read it again. Let me reread it. Ryan had not been randomly tested for 10 months before entering a testing pool of 8 weeks before the Devin Haney fight. I have a question on that. Hey, Victor, how do you know? Wait. I understand that VADA tests the athletes through the Smarto Lab 8 weeks prior to a bout, which is what their website said. So 8 weeks before Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia fought, it is assumed that they both went into a testing pool for 8 weeks to test for their upcoming fight. But 10 months prior to that, when Ryan Garcia wasn't even scheduled to fight Devin Haney, Victor Conte's claiming that he didn't even get randomly tested. My question to Victor, because everybody keeps telling me that he's not affiliated with VADA. How do you know that, Victor? Ryan Garcia is not a SNAC fighter. Ryan Garcia is not one of the fighters that you have in your program, that you're testing his blood, that you're overseeing his training regimen, that you're supplying him with, as Terence Crawford say, SNAC and other things. How do you know whether or not he was randomly tested? Huh? I just have listen, don't get mad at me. I'm just asking a question. How do you know that? Why would he test for 10 months randomly when VADA doesn't do out of competition testing in the first place? Don't get mad at me. The founder, Dr. Margaret Goodman, I had her here on this channel talking to me personally. Now, I did play dumb. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I did play dumb because I wanted to ask her questions. And yes, I knew the answers to it, but I wanted you all to learn and know the answers. And I asked her about that because I wanted her to come out and tell you all that VADA does not do out of competition testing. So if Ryan Garcia wasn't competing for the 10 months prior to the 8 weeks before the fight between him and Devin, why would he even be tested in the first place when VADA, they only test 8 weeks prior to a fight? We need answers. You see how when people talk, they control the narrative and the environment for people to be manipulated to believe something that's not true. If a casual boxing fan that does not know anything about the protocol and the policy and procedures of VADA, if they read Victor Conte's tweet, you would assume, based on reading that, as a casual boxing fan that do not know better or are uneducated, you would believe that Ryan Garcia was somehow suspicious and cheating before he even fought Devin Haney. So I have to come out and be honest and dispel the myth. Come on, Victor Conte. That makes absolutely no sense. Oh, but it doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there. Let me go a step further. Victor Conte said in the sentence before that, follow me, please, class. We're going to read it together. I'm going to read it aloud for those of you that can't see your screen. Victor Conte says, and I quote, in my opinion, it was IMO. That's where we are, class. Stay with me. IMO. That's where we are. Come read with me. In my opinion, Ryan Garcia was simply not the same fighter on May 2nd, 2025 that he was on April 20th, 2024. That was his opinion, and I think he's entitled to it. He said that Ryan Garcia wasn't the same fighter. In other words, is when Ryan Garcia fought on May 2nd, 2025 against Rolly Romero, his performance was lackluster compared to when he fought Devin Haney on April the 20th, 2024. I got a question on that. when I said that Terence Crawford looked different in his performances before he got with Victor Conte in the SNAC program, how come people was criticizing me? I'm just asking the question. Don't get mad at me. People were insulting me for saying that Terence Crawford's performances looked extremely different between the time he was without Victor Conte in the SNAC program all the way up until the time that he was in it, fighting Errol Spence Jr. So when Victor Conte come out and say Ryan Garcia's performance looked different from May 2nd to May 2nd, 2025 to compared to April 20th, 2024, he don't get the same treatment that I was getting. And I got another question on that. Since we talking about Ryan Garcia's performance on May 2nd, 2025, and it was lackluster because Ryan Garcia wasn't on Oscar, how do y'all know? You ain't gonna find these questions nowhere else. I'm gonna ask that question again in layman's terms. The test results for none of the athletes that competed on Friday, May 2nd, it didn't even come out yet, did it? Now, y'all correct me if I'm wrong now. Did the testing results from any of the 6 professional boxers that competed on May 2nd, did they come out and be made public yet? No, they haven't. So how does Victor Conte know, or Bill Haney know, that Ryan Garcia wasn't on Ostarine or any other PEDs this time around? I'm going somewhere with this. I want somebody to walk into my trap. I'm talking about my haters. I want my haters and subscribers who be hating on me, and my detractors and spies that don't subscribe but just be viewing. I want my counterparts, other content creators who be stealing my talking points, who be hijacking my content, them. I want them to walk into my trap. I'm going to ask the question again because y'all don't even see the setup. Where the Roller Tape family when I need them? There they go. They in the chat. Roller Tape film crew. Watch this. Watch how I walk them down. Look, check this out. I'm going to ask that question again, and then I'm going to give you, here we go. Stay with me. May 2nd, 2025 is when all 6 of the professional boxers competed. Y'all with me, right? Okay, good. Let's stay on Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia competed on May 2nd, 2025. Victor Conte's in the tweet saying that Ryan Garcia's performance looked worse, basically, than it did when he fought Devin Haney on April 20th, 2024. According to Victor and Bill Haney, it's because Ryan Garcia wasn't on Ostarine this time, but he was the last time. My question is, how do y'all know? The test results didn't even come out yet. The test results for none of the 6 fighters, including Ryan Garcia, who competed on May 2nd, it didn't even come out. It wasn't made public. How do y'all know that Ryan Garcia wasn't using PEDs or Ostarine in this fight? Let me tell you why I'm asking that question. Because if you're just looking at Ryan Garcia's performance as the barometer, and if that's the standard that you are using, even though you have no evidence whether or not he tested positive for Ostarine or PEDs in this fight on May 2nd, then how come I can't use that same formula? Y'all don't know what I'm talking about? Roller Tape film crew, stay with me. Watch this. When I told y'all Terence Crawford performance looked different against Sean Porter, David Evanesian, and more obvious, Errol Spence, you know what people was telling me? You don't have any evidence of any PED usage. You're insinuating. Terence Bud Crawford never failed the drug test. He never tested positive in none of those fights that you're talking about. So you're just assuming, you're accusing. What? I'm basing it on the same standard that Bill Haney and Victor Conte is basing it on with Ryan Garcia. They don't have any proof and evidence that Ryan Garcia is not on Ostarino PEDs now, do they? Did his test results come back negative yet? I'm just asking the question. They're just assuming that Ryan Garcia is not on Ostarine and PEDs this time. You know why? Because they're using the eye test. They're just using what they see based on the performance. And there was a drop in his performance on May 2nd, and then looked like an enhancement of his performance on April 20th, 2024. So if they can use the eye test with no evidence of the testing results for PEDs or steroids, then how come I can't use the eye test when I say Terence Crawford looked different? Ooh! Marty Matlock is in the building now. You know, my friends used to tell me back in the day that I should become a lawyer. I never took them up on their offer. And people still tell me today I should be. The bottom line is this, because the prosecutor is here now. If it's okay for Victor Conte and Bill Haney to use the eye test to compare fights between April 20th, 2024 and May 2nd, 2025, then how come I can't use the eye test from all the fights that Terence Crawford had before he fought Sean Porter? Because those fights, he wasn't with the SNAC program. You don't know what I'm talking about? Remember a year before he fought Sean Porter? When he fought Kell Brook was beating him to the punch and puffing his eyes up. Y'all remember that? Remember when Terence Crawford fought Mean Machine? What's his name? Mean Machine Aglaskovas? I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Y'all know who I'm talking about. The guy who landed that big punch on the inside on Terence Crawford. And Terence Crawford dropped to his knees, and the referee did not count it as a knockdown officially. Y'all remember that? I'm just asking the question. Don't get mad at me. Y'all remember them fights where Terence Crawford starts slow? You know when Gamboa rocked him at a different weight class. Yuriokas Gamboa. When he made Terence Crawford do the stinky leg. Y'all remember that, right? Okay. But then when he got with Victor Conte and the SNAC program, for some odd reason, he seemed to be enhanced in his performances. Now, somebody's going to get mad at me, and I was waiting for you to get mad because I got a whole crew, thousands of members of the Road to Tape film crew. They're here right now. And they're going to watch the replay of this if they're not. And they remember this on your screen. Go on and look at it. Y'all remember this? I'm going to read it to you if you can't see it on your screen. This is from SNAC System. That's Victor Conte's SNAC program. This is their IG channel. Now, of course, they may have more posts and more followers and more following numbers. But this is what I screenshotted 2 years ago. But I'm going to put it on the screen right now. It's on the screen. Go and look at it. I'm going to read it to you. SNAC System. This is their description. I'm reading it right here. Victor Conte's sports nutrition company. SNAC offers products that improve your level of fitness, help lose fat, build muscle, and enhance performance. Terence Crawford performance was enhanced, wasn't it? When he fought Sean Porter, wasn't it? When he fought David Ebenezer, wasn't it? And when he fought Errol Spence, wasn't it? That's the 3-fight process that I use. Now, if we're using the same standard that Victor Conte and Bill Haney is using against Ryan Garcia's performances, well, that means I'm in the clear. I can use the same standard, the eye test, the barometer to determine whether Terence Crawford's performance was enhanced when he got with Victor Conte's SNAC program compared to all the fights he had before November of 2021. Because that was the fight that he fought Sean Porter in. Okay? That's still not enough to convince you? You sure? Okay. Go and look at your screen right now. Bam! Woo! I got evidence after evidence. That's why they call me the prosecutor, Marty Matlock. See, some of you forgot about this, and some of you haven't. Okay, I'm going to have to remove my logo from the screen because I don't want anybody to miss the date. I don't want anyone to miss the date on that. At the top of your screen in the right corner. I don't want you to miss it now. I'm going to take the logo off because I don't want you to miss it. Go and look at your screen. I circled it for you. You know, I did my homework so I can come back and show you my work. Y'all see that, right? Do y'all see that? I just want y'all to see the date. I circled it. Y'all see that, right? What was that? March the 27th of 2019. ES News published this interview that they conducted with Victor Conte. This was 2 years prior to Terence Crawford going to the SNAC program. And Victor Conte gave his analysis of what he thought about the fight between Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence if they ever fought. He's going to tell you what he think about Errol Spence at that time. And he's also going to tell you that he believed that there are certain things that will give a specific fighter the edge. I have the audio and I'm going to play it right now. You know what? I'm doing way too much talking. Don't take my word for it. Roll the tape.
I've got all the respect in the world for both Earl and Derek. And now on to your question about that is a very tough call. I think it's a 50-50 fight. I like both guys. Terence has got tremendous skills. He's really got the dog factor, too, that I like. But I think Earl's got the dog factor going for him, too. He's a little more reserved about it. But I think one thing we learned about Earl is, like they say, don't be talking smack against the high school football team that you're getting ready to play, because they'll take everything that you say and post it up on the locker room. They'll do nothing but fire them up. I think that Earl was highly motivated and came in there and did a great job. And we'll have to see how, if and when they fight, how the build-up goes. But I would say it's a 50-50 fight. I mean, I respect both guys. I think they're both.
We've heard enough. So let me get this straight. I made this point before, but somebody in my live chat just said they don't know where I'm going with this. This is where I'm going. Get on the school bus. We got to go on a field trip. Victor Conte said, and y'all just heard him, March of 2019, 2 years before Terence Crawford called him on the phone to go to his SNAC program, Victor Conte said, in his opinion, the fight between Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence was 50-50. It can go either way. Errol Spence might be able to win, and both Terence Crawford might be able to win. But in my opinion, in 2019, it's a 50-50 fight. Let me ask the live chat a question. If you're watching the replay of this live, I'm going to ask you a question in the comments section. It's just a yes or no. I don't ask for much. When Terence Crawford fought Errol Spence in July of 2023, was it a 50-50 fight? It's just yes or no. Anybody can answer that. Real quick, because we got to move on. We got to move on. In the live chat, can I get some engagement? As the viewership is increasing exponentially. Was it a 50-50 fight when Terence Crawford fought Errol Spence in 2023? Okay, let me reframe the question because I see that there's people all over the place with this. When Terence Crawford fought Errol Spence in July of 2023, inside of the boxing ring, based on what you saw, based on the results of the end of the fight, was it a 50-50 fight? Yes or no? Okay, so now we're getting somewhere. So at the time that Terence Crawford and Errol Spence was actually competing in the ring, which, by the way, didn't even go the full 12 rounds, but in the ring, and based on the results after the fight, it wasn't a 50-50 fight. Huh? It looked more like 90% Terence Bud Crawford and 10% Errol Spence. That would have looked like to me because I was there live. I was sitting close. I could see everything. That would have looked like to me. That's all I'm saying. And so what I'm trying to get at is this. In 2019, Victor Conte believed that it was a 50-50 fight. He also said that Errol Spence is the naturally bigger fighter. But when the actual fight took place in 2023, it wasn't 50-50 in that ring. The common denominator is Victor Conte. What do I mean by that? Well, Terence Crawford went to Victor Conte, called him up, wanted to join the SNAC program 2 years before he fought Errol Spence, and 2 years after Victor Conte said it was a 50-50 fight. You don't believe me? Some of you are here, you already know where I'm going with this, and most of you don't. But if you don't believe, because somebody might say, Manager Marty, where's your proof? How do you know Terence Crawford called Victor Conte? How do you know? You're just insinuating. You're just making things up. You're just pulling things out of the hat because you're hating on Bud Crawford. Well, you know what? I'm only repeating what I heard Victor Conte tell me to my face. You don't believe? You know what? I'm doing way too much talking. Don't take my word for it. Roll the tape. From my guy. Double salute to him, Gregory Quarterbaum. Greg says, greeting, Manager Marty, the Roller Tape film crew or family, and Mr. Conte. Mr. Conte, did you contact Bud Crawford or did Bud Crawford contact you? And when did you actually start working with him? And what was it he needed to improve? So let's break this down in increments. Did you contact Bud or did Bud Crawford contact you?
Okay, as I said earlier, you have these companies out there that for every single fight, I don't know who contracts them, but they go around when they find sponsors and they say, would you like to sponsor this guy? Would you like to sponsor this guy? Would you like to sponsor this guy? Here's how much it's going to cost. I don't know who it was, but somebody that was representing Terence contacted my office, okay, and wanted some ridiculous amount of money, $50,000 or something crazy for endorsement. I said no. Thereafter, at some point, Terence called, and I talked with Terence, aside from this guy. And then Terence, on his own, he basically said, "This is Terence, and you don't have to sell me on anything. I already know what you do. I've been following you, and I'd like to work with you, blah, blah, blah." And so we had a brief talk. Then he called Demetrius Andrade. He didn't tell me he was going to do that. And Demetrius said, "Trust me, you want to be with this guy. He will help you in many, many ways." Whatever Demetrius said, he vouched for me. And then Terence called back and said, "I'm in. I want to be with you and SNAC." All right. So the first step, as we've always talked about, is let's get your blood testing. Because if all I am is a sponsor, and I'm just sending you a fighter training stack that's generic for anybody and everybody, and you're wearing a patch, but I've never talked to you or I've never tested your blood, I don't consider that me working with you, and it's a real working relationship. But the instant that you give me all that data on your blood, and I can now interpret that and make specific recommendations and prompt you to have great compliance if you want to get some results. Now we're working together. Make sense? Yep. So that happened initially. I guess the first time was before the Porter fight. I said, but there's a bit of a conflict here. I would have to get the approval of Sean and Ken. So before I can commit and say, yes, I will help you in this fight, let me go to them. And I did, as I told you earlier. And then Sean said, let me talk to my dad. And he came back and said, we're good with it, because they're friendly. They've known each other since the amateurs many, many years. They're warriors when they go in the ring, but they're friendly. And then I went back to Terence and I said, they said they're good with it. And the only thing Terence said was, let the best man win. Tell me what to do. How do I get my blood drawn? How do I work with you?
Did y'all hear that? It was a lot of words being said. Did y'all hear the audio in that? I'm going to let y'all process the payment for a second. Did y'all hear that? I just want to make sure we always on the same page. That's all. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. That's what Victor Conte told me to my face. He was here live in living color, December of 2023. And then a week later, in January of 2024. Did y'all hear what he said? He said Demetrius Andrade told Terence Crawford, trust me, you want to be with this guy. He said that Bud Crawford told him, this is Terence, you don't have to sell me on anything. I know what it is that you do. He just said, even though he's the owner of the program, there's a conflict of interest. He would first have to call Sean Porter and Kenny Porter and get the clearance from them, get the approval from them, get the permission from them if they would be willing to fight Terence Crawford while Terence Crawford was receiving the same stuff that he was giving them. Terence Crawford said, I want in. And guess what else Terence Crawford said? According to Victor Conte, Terence Crawford said, may the best man win. I'm still trying to figure out, what did he mean by that? Okay, whoa. You mean to tell me, so Sean Porter is with Victor Conte in the SNAC program. Victor Conte agreed that Terence Crawford, who wanted in, who called him for it, to allow him to be on the program. Terence Crawford said, according to Victor Conte, let the best man win. Let the best man on what? Win. Huh? Hey, Aaron Muhammad, I'm just asking a question. What did he mean by that? Lucky McKinnell's, what did he mean by that? Josh Sanders, I'm just asking. P Flame, all things Miss Barbara D. Fly your frequency. I know you're a Bud fan. I just want to ask the question. Jab Queen Boxing, I just want to know, because I dropped out of college and I'm slow. What did Terence Crawford mean when he said, may the best man win? I'm just saying because I was at Terence Crawford and Errol Spence weigh-in. I was there watching live. I was there in person in Vegas. I didn't hear Terence Crawford tell Errol Spence, may the best man. I watched all the press conferences leading up to the fight between Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. I didn't hear Terence Crawford tell Errol Spence, may the best man win. I just try to figure out, what did he mean by that? That's all I wanted. I don't ask hard questions. I ask easy questions. You see what I'm saying? I ask easy questions. Like an easy question I've been asking for 2.5 years now. What did they go over there for? I try to figure out, what did Bud Crawford call Victor Conte for? Now, I know somebody's going to say, we're supposed to be talking about Ryan Garcia, and Ryan Garcia's performance looked different. Well, we are talking about Ryan Garcia. We are talking about Ryan Garcia's performance looked different. I mean, Victor Conte and Bill Haney, they used a basic standard called the eye test. So why can't I use the basic standard of eye test against the SNAC fighters and Terence Crawford? Because I've been using it before they used it against Ryan. I've been using the eye test on the SNAC fighters before Bill Haney and Victor Conte used that same standard against Ryan. So I'm just trying to figure out, why can't I use it now? See, because when I was using it back then, people was criticizing me, insulting me, disrespecting me. But now here it is. Victor Conte and Bill Haney is using my standard of the eye test against Ryan Garcia and his performances. See, this don't have nothing to do with me taking up for Ryan, like some of you believe. No, what I'm basically saying was, good for the goose is good for the gander. Don't do something wrong to somebody else, and then when somebody else do something wrong to you, you crying. You a victim now. You don't know what I'm talking about? Look at your screen again. I'm going to read it again. Victor Conte Sports Nutrition Company, SNAC, offers products that improve your level of fitness, help lose fat, build muscle, and enhance performance. You mean to tell me when Devin Haney fought Regis Prograis and took his world title while he was on SNAC, that his performance wasn't enhanced? So it's cool for Victor Conte to enhance Devin Haney's performance to take Regis Prograis' belt from him. Oh, but when Ryan Garcia used supplements to help him, Devin Haney's a victim now? So it's cool for Victor Conte to help enhance the performance of Terence Crawford, who took 3 belts off of Errol Spence. But when Ryan Garcia took supplements that he probably didn't know had ostarine in it, or maybe he did, to enhance his performance, all of a sudden now they're victims? That's what I'm talking about. Huh? You reap what you sow. And you sow what you reap. All of the 12 performances of Devin Haney's fights with Victor Conte has been enhanced. 4 fights with Victor Conte that Terence Crawford had under the SNAC program has been enhanced. Caleb Plant's performances with Victor Conte in the SNAC program has been enhanced. Should I continue? I'll stop right there for now. The point I'm making is he's telling y'all on his own IG SNAC Systems account that SNAC enhanced performance. Now, somebody said, well, Ryan Garcia used an illegal supplement. Well, how do you know Terence Crawford didn't? And I wish you would tell me Terence Crawford didn't test positive for a banned substance, because we all don't know that, do we? Honestly, do we? We don't know that. No, don't get mad at me. I'm just keeping it 100. We don't know that. Go on and look at your screen. Go on and look at it, you hater, you spy, you detractor. Go on and look at it. Not you, roller tape film crew members. I love y'all, not y'all. I mean, I love the haters too, but I'm not talking. They know who I'm talking about. And I know some of you content creators. I know you watching me right now. Go and look at your screen. That's the last time VADA publicly acknowledged that Terence Crawford was tested through their program. October 2020 for his Kell Brook fight. Here we are in May of 2025, and there's no public record of Terence Crawford being tested for PEDs or steroids through VADA. That's not me hating. That's a known fact, and I got the proof. But I'm just going to leave it right here on your screen. I'm going to sit this on the table right here and walk away. The last time Terence Crawford tested through VADA, according to VADA's own website, was October 22nd, 2020, for his November 14th bout versus Kell Brook. Now, what was the first fight that Terence Crawford had after he fought Kell Brook? Sean Porter, right? Now, you just heard Victor Conte in the audio say that Terence Crawford called him right before the Sean Porter fight to be a part of the SNAC program. And what happened? What was Terence Crawford's performance like in the 10th round of that fight with Sean Porter? Well, Terence Crawford did something to Sean Porter that no one has ever done to Sean Porter in any of Sean Porter's professional bouts. He knocked Sean Porter down twice. He TKO'd Sean Porter. No one has ever done that to Sean Porter. What else did Terence Crawford performance look like after he fought Sean Porter? Well, he fought David Evanesian. And in the 6th round of that fight, he knocked David Evanesian out cold, unconscious, with one punch. Something that Terence Crawford has never done in his previous performances. But in the David Evanesian fight, he knocked David Evanesian out cold, unconsciously, in the 6th round with only one punch. And what did his performance look like after that? He knocked Errol Spence down multiple times, 3 times to be exact, and received the TKO victory in the 9th round when the referee, whom I had on this channel literally 2 weeks after the fight, Harvey Dock, came in and stopped the fight. Almost disfigured Errol Spence's face. Something that has never, ever happened to Errol Spence in none of his professional fights. And these are the 3 fights that Terence Crawford's performances were enhanced, including the fact that there's no record publicly from VADA that Terence Crawford was tested for any of those fights. Only thing I got to tell you, with that being said, if you look at your screen, if you can, we need answers.